Next up on the show is Guillermo, the owner of Guillermo's restaurant here in San Antonio. Guillermo, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
So you run 2 restaurants now, right?
It's one Guillermo's, and it's I like to frame it as just an extension, as one big one, because mentally, if I put it as 2, it can be a little bit more challenging. So yes, they're 2. They're a mile and a half away from each other. Really simple to get to. I'm able to take my electric bike and ride through the cool parts of San Antonio to get there. So. Yeah, that's what we do. Guillermo's restaurant on Austin Street and Guillermo's on McCullough.
And you've been around for how long?
I opened up in 1995 and sat the downtown YMCA right after I graduated from college with an accounting degree. You know what? I've been in the business 40 years. Here I am. Sometimes I wish I would have started working in a doctor's office because I'd probably be a doctor. But no, I started washing dishes because some guy that knew my brother called me up and said, hey, we need a dishwasher. I was 12 years old, 1984, 83, and I was like throwing my football up, catching it to myself in the spring. And they said, we need a dishwasher at Windsor Park Mall. That's when the downtown wasn't like a great area. People were already moving out to the suburbs, and they were developing the suburbs with these great malls and these great stores and these great restaurants. So Windsor Park Mall, if anyone recalls that, was really a happening place.
Yeah, it's at Waltham, right?
Yeah.
And 35.
Rack space is there now.
Yeah. I remember that when I went through the Air Force basic training back in 1988. I remember going to that mall. It was like, wow, this is nice.
It was a new area in the city, I guess in the 70s. New stores, new homes, new subdivisions. And going through the cycle, it looks like it's taken a dip. You can still see a lot of vacant buildings about there. But when I was there, it was great. It was fun. You know, it was at the expense of downtown. Now, as we're evolving, we're trying to get back into downtown because you just need to look at some simple pictures of downtown San Antonio in the 50s. I mean, I have to remind you guys, San Antonio was the largest city in Texas. And everything was downtown. And downtown was the mall, just packed with people walking all around.
I think it's easy to forget that San Antonio is 300 years old. I think about that when I'm driving around my neighborhood, which is like historic, and I'm like, whoa.
What's crazy is we see the Alamo downtown every time we go down there, but they actually fought a battle at that Alamo. It's crazy.
It's a crazy story, the Alamo, which raises a lot of questions on the story.
We've been taught. We don't want to get into that. I read that book. Oh.
But
what's this book? I got to get this book.
Oh, it's a great story.
If you want to be angry, you can read Forget the Alamo.
Yeah.
Forget the Alamo.
Yeah.
Well, even before
I can't watch
I
on
read
Netflix.
That book, when I was in college at UTSA in the 90s, there was this guy from Mexico. And I remember talking about the Alamo, and this still resonates with me. He goes, that's your story. He goes, our story is completely different.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like,
well, what did he mean
be ready
by
to
our?
root for Mexico the entire time and know that they don't win.
You know, you can ask some simple questions in terms of talking about human nature and valiantly heroes. You know, when you're in battle, man, shit changes. And you look at the story and Bowie and doing this wonderful thing. No, from the perspective of some Mexican historians, no, you had the Alamo defenders running out, striving to survive, not standing up in that battle as, you know, I think any one of us, if we're getting shot,
it's war.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's war. So that's just a touch of it. So
the unsexy history of San Antonio.
It's a beautiful
It's
story,
not done by Warner Brothers. You know what I mean?
Well,
I mean,
you know,
it's a real thing.
It creates allegiance. It creates pride. It may create pride to a Texan. Not all of us here are Texans, but nonetheless, I wanted to touch on the city of San Antonio. That is something to be proud of, that we are 300 years old. Because let's look at, real quick, what grows slow and how does it die? What grows fast and how does it die? An oak tree takes a long time to grow, but it lasts a long time. Some of these other organisms that grow real quick die real fast. And talking about climate change, if you look at our community, there's a good chance that we are the oldest, I think one of the oldest cities in Texas. There's a good chance we may be able to weather these storms. Let's look at Phoenix. Let's look at Las Vegas. Cities that grew fast. As humans, we've been around, 275,000 years, consciously intelligent for about 75,000 years. I don't know.
That's debatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's when they claimed the conscious revolution came, when we started getting smarter.
Light
But
bulb,
but
aliens.
were those guys living in Death Valley? Were they living in Phoenix? Was it not until we were able to reroute water, AC, that people decided to move in Las Vegas?
Air
Well, and I think
conditioning
a
changed
great
the world.
example is Detroit. It rose really fast with the car industry, and it fell really fast as soon as the car industry got outsourced to different countries. And speaking of culture in San Antonio, but you've been here decades, and your restaurant specifically has been open for how many years now?
Oh, gosh, 28 years. I've been in business 28 years, yeah.
I mean, a business that's 5 years old is a rare thing, and a restaurant that's 28 years
And
old.
it still doesn't get any easier. What the heck?
You need to leverage, right? We got to figure out how to leverage. How do you?
Well,
I don't even know how
restaurants
you
are
leverage
hard.
in a restaurant business. Is it even possible?
You leverage. What do you mean by leverage?
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
You do it, right? How did you leverage?
I mean, so again, I've been pretty good at putting systems and process in place. So kind of look at the hierarchy and who the people are, and just making sure you have the right people in place, right? If you've got the best GM who's been doing this for X amount of years and has turned so many restaurants around, that's probably a guy that you want on your team.
So you have to
making
empower
sure-
others to actually run that business,
Well, and
but
the
you have
hard
to trust them.
part,
Yeah,
too, I would
absolutely.
imagine, is Guillermo's it's a neighborhood staple. It is a San Antonio staple at this point. So what's been the shift from 28 years ago? You started your restaurant, you were bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, to where you are now. You've weathered COVID. You're dealing with a lot of different things going on.
Gosh, where can we start? So you guys may use leverage.
Got 5 minutes.
I use organization. And I've said this before, and this is some advice I give to a few people. With organization, you can accomplish anything. If not, there's chaos, right? And we all look to organization, right? We all look to the hospitals. We all call the police if we need help. And they're all in some form structured or an organization. You create that, and you're going to have employees because not everybody can create it. So they seek it. So I understand that responsibility. And then in terms of staff members, you have to treat them well, right? And you have to recognize that they want to do well. You have to recognize that you have to believe them. You have to trust them. And that's always a topic of debate, but especially when we're talking about the media, people aren't trusting. I'll simply put it this way. When we go to H-E-B, are the security guards pointing guns at us to make sure we pay for that item, especially when we go to self-checkout? They trust us. Does that mean they don't know people steal? Sure they do. But for the most part, they trust us. When you come to our restaurant, right, and we feed grandmothers, children, mothers, fathers, they trust us. We take that seriously. So that begs a question across the board. Why not trust a journalist? Aren't they just like us? That they want to do a good thing? That they have a responsibility to journalists, their code is the journalist creed, to have some integrity.
With the good ones, right?
Yeah, the good ones, yeah, for the most part. I mean, regarding, I do the 80-20% rule, man. If 80% are running this way and 20% are running that way, your odds are run with the 80%. Doesn't mean it's going to lead you to safety, but the odds are really good. So if 80% of the media, and I pay for my media, by the way, and that's what I recommend everyone, pay for your media, because then a different machine is driving it. I'll go that way, right? I go to a restaurant. I simply ask, what's the best thing on the menu? What do most people order? Well, they order this. That's what I'll take. The odds are good. I'm going to like it.
That's where their margin's at right now. The restaurant.
Yeah.
Margin's on the special.
Well, yeah. Well, but anyway, so I kind of went off a little bit. But yes, regarding people, you have to treat them good. And stress is stress. We may, Skylar and myself and Mark and Heather may like to believe that in our head, our stress level is beyond anyone else's because we're the CEO, we're the president. Hogwash. You look at simple primates, right? Look at monkeys, right? You have the hierarchy scale. And who are the ones who have the most stress? the ones on the bottom who keep getting their ass beat.
Well, I
Right?
found that like the longer I'm in business, the more I really reinforce the idea that the more I stress, it doesn't get any easier. I used to like feel like if I was stressed, it meant I was doing enough, and it turns out it just made my life a lot harder. So now it's what can I do? But like I could feel stressed out about it, or I could just do it, and the difficulty will probably be the same, but the stress is
You
not
got
going
to
to
find
help.
that sweet spot.
Stress
Yeah.
is stress. So,
Mhm.
so one thing that one of the studies I've read is that they find that the CEOs and the presidents typically have a lot less stress in some regards. So then the question is why?
Systems and processes.
Well, guess what? I can go work out when I want. I can go eat when I want. I can read a book. I can start surfing the internet when I want. Right? Yeah, we still have our challenges, but the middle managers, they've got to they have to deal with these parameters and these scales. So one of the things we do in our business is we let our staff be in control of their schedule. If they want to take off, you more than welcome to take off. Just find someone to cover you. We put it on them. Again, with our staff, one of the more important things that we have with our staff is going back to structure, is the routine of things. And the conversations we'll have in my office are trying to synchronize, and I hope this resonates with our listeners and with us. I try to synchronize your unconscious with your conscious. And when you can synchronize those two, God damn, it's so easy. I can listen to my AirPods and cut that pizza because the pizza cutter's already there. It's like putting the seatbelt on when you get in your car.
Yeah.
You don't have to think about it. It's that time we're driving home, but we're thinking about Mary Lou and, hey, why am I driving to work?
Yeah.
Your unconscious is guiding you to work, right? You're not driving to the murderer's house.
Well, I think that's something interesting to note about like people in an entrepreneurial role where you do have to personally grow. You have to take those steps to always be expanding your knowledge base, learning new things. The job requires it, the job of being a business owner. And so that may be that difference. It's those atomic habits. It's the slight edge. It's leaders are readers. You're reading things. You're learning things. You have that flexibility and the knowledge that there's opportunity out there to go get. You just have to figure out how to know what you don't know yet. And so that's what's interesting. And we probably did ourselves a disservice scheduling you guys on the same episode.
Well, it's a responsibility.
There's so much
as well.
to talk about.
Well, one of my goals is to actually do deeper dives. We'll just have one guest and we can kind of go farther because, I mean, 30 minutes goes by really, really fast and we're actually over a little bit. But we do need to wrap up. Guillermo, it's a great conversation. You are a thinker, right? You go past the surface. You like to go deeper, and I like that. And Skylar, you're really, really good at, approaching things in a way that makes sense from a common sense perspective and just getting after it. Plus, you've got a lot of energy. How old are you now?
32.
32, yeah. Dude, you got so much life.
Starting.
Yeah, right. All right, as we wrap up, Guillermo, so if folks want to go to your restaurant, where's it and how do they, you're on Yelp and all the things, right?
www.guillermosdowntown.com. Just go to the internet, type in Guillermo San Antonio, and something's bound to pop up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? Don't read the reviews.
Don't read.
And don't read my responses.
Well, you're
I love
over
when an owner
2,700 of them at
responds.
4.4 on Google. That's pretty good. So,
No.
I mean,
a restaurant that has a 5-star review, I'm suspicious. There's no one that's always happy with a restaurant. No one.
Well,
That's-
80-20, right? Siemens, Sapiens, we're
there you go.
right
That's
there.
4
man.
stars. That's not bad.
Yeah,
All right.
So, there we go.
All right, as we wrap up the show, quick reminder, check out our latest podcast or catch video versions of the show anytime by visiting our website at satalkradio.com. That's going to be it for us. You guys have a great week. We'll see you
Right.
in the next
Thanks for
one.
having us.
Thanks, guys. Great job.